From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what we're working on for you over the next 60 minutes. We have eyes in the North Dakota sky.
Crops are looking very good.
Crops look good, and wheat harvest is just days away. For growers in the High Plains, the Pacific Northwest port is the place to go.
When you talk about shipping from the Pacific Northwest to China, we can cut about 8 days off that trip.
Our Farm Journal report looks at how vital the port is to some growers.
Coming up on American Countryside, do you ever wonder where your lost luggage goes? Well, join me to find out where to find it.
And in John's world,
birthday people and non-birthday people, can we just get along?
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado.
Now for the news that moved the markets this week. The economy is looking better, and the Fed says near-term risks are diminishing, but there won't be an interest rate hike just yet. We'll have at least one more month of unchanged interest rates. The Federal Reserve saying this week it's leaving interest rates flat, but not closing the door for a rate hike in the coming months. Not everyone thinks it will happen that soon. According to CME, traders are pricing in an 18% chance for a rate hike in September and a 40% chance by December. Those odds don't really increase until July of next year. Well, the nation's crops are still in phenomenal shape. The latest USDA crop progress report shows 76% of the nation's corn crop is still rated good to excellent. That's 6 points better than this time last year. Nearly 80% of the crop is silking. And looking at soybeans, those were unchanged with 71% good to excellent, although the percentage of the crop in the excellent category actually went up a point. A third of the crop is now setting pods. That's 9 points ahead of last year, and that's helped by the warmer temperatures this summer.
Crops are looking very good.
During our travels in North Dakota this week, farmer Sean Anderson gave us an aerial tour of crops, which, as you can see, look healthy and even. Growers around Jamestown tell me corn and soybeans look promising, and as they prepare for wheat harvest, North Dakota yields are expected to be around the 70 bushel per acre range.
Next week we should be able to start harvesting wheat, and that looks awesome too. We're in early, earliest we've probably been in many years, and good conditions. We didn't have any bugs, so we're looking really hopeful for it.
One thing this year is we've had the earliest tasseling. It's been about a week to 10 days earlier than normal, which always helps out the maturity.
The early tasseling also is helping farmers beat the high heat they say they saw last week. Growers did say the farther northeast you get in the state, excessive rains and hail are causing crop conditions to deteriorate, especially in the potatoes and dry beans. Well, French farmers are facing a tough reality this year, the smallest wheat yields in 30 years. Waterlogged fields for the EU's largest wheat producer is dropping the yield to around 5.5 metric tons of grain per hectare. But in Australia, it's a situation of too much wheat. The country's biggest grain exporter says it's building emergency storage to hold what's looking like the largest crop ever. Chinese pig prices are climbing to record levels as massive floods are drowning animals in the world's largest pork producer and consumer. Just in Hubei, China, about 10,000 hogs have already drowned. And now fears of disease outbreaks are also surfacing. According to Bloomberg, the floods in the central and southern portions of the country are forcing farmers to slaughter more pigs, including ones not fat enough. It could all prompt China to import a record amount of pork this year. All right, those are the headlines. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman joins us now with weather. Mike, some of our viewers really cooled off a little this week. Does that cool weather or cooler weather stick around?
Thanks, Tyne. Well, not so much. I think it does heat up again in many parts of the middle of the country, but not as intense as it was. Now, on the drought monitor, we're seeing 3 pockets in the growing areas typically, besides California, which has been dry for a while. The southeast, eastern Great Lakes, and the Black Hills westward. Those are the pockets that have been getting worse and worse. Now, a month ago, we were starting to see some pockets through the middle of the Corn Belt. Those kind of came and went as we got more and more rain in those areas, and those have mainly gone away. So these 3 main pockets are the concerns that we have. So let's go day by day. As we head through the first of the week, on Monday, a storm system coming into eastern Montana. Another one that's going to feed into that as we head through this week, which I'll show you in a second, and a lingering storm along the east coast. So that'll be the areas of showers and thunderstorms. It'll be warm but sunny across the Great Lakes. The heat starts to return to the southern plains and it continues hot in the southwest. As we head through Wednesday then, those two systems kind of come together into a pretty strong one. There's going to be a decent chance for showers and thunderstorms near this along the warm front in eastern Canada. Just hit and miss showers and thunderstorms from southwestern Michigan all the way to the Gulf Coast and the Four Corner region. Again, these are hit and miss afternoon variety thunderstorms there. By Friday then, we're looking at that storm system moving through eastern Canada, dragging a cold front that becomes stationary across the southern plains. That'll be the focus for showers and thunderstorms, as you can see there, as mild air returns to the northern plains and actually some cool stuff into western Canada. We'll be back in our next half hour with a longer range outlook.
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, we'll talk about the commodity prices this week. That's with Don Rose and Mark Gold after the break.
Today, we're talking about automotive awards. Which one of these awards appeals most to you?
Top safety pick, mid-size car and SUV.
Most dependable means a lot to me.
The green car, because I like fuel efficiency.
What if there was a car company that received all of these awards?
One company, one award in all these? Chevy.
Chevy.
Chevrolet is the most awarded car company of the last 2 years.
I love it. It's fierce.
How would you sum this car up in one word?
Incredible, amazing, and I can't use one word.
Join Drovers and Dr. Dan Thompson for our 3rd annual Feedlot Cowboy College on September 7th and 8th in Dodge City, Kansas. This 2-day seminar, led by respected and knowledgeable industry experts, is filled with timely information for feedlot operators. Topics include animal health, low-stress animal handling, technology, and how to improve animal welfare. Attendance will also qualify you as BQA certified. For more information, visit droverscowboycollege.com.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay. Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deals.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Call 800-747-2351, 800-747-2351.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report on the Marketing Roundtable. This week we have Don Rose of U.S. Commodities and Mark Gold of Top Third. Friday was a good day for soybeans. We saw soybeans in the green this week. So is it weather? What's driving these soybean prices right now, Don?
Well, I think we're coming in the key time for soybeans, and that's August. You can make or break the soybeans just in a very short amount of time. I think it's that, the uncertainty, the weather still, a driving force, but also the fear of some exports that are going to continue to be pretty strong. We've got an August report coming up. Look for the exports on old crop probably to increase 20 to 30 million, maybe ending stocks come down. Probably don't change the yield on the August report. So I think it's really uncertain with weather. We're the only ball game in town on exports. So I think that's the driving force.
Mark, we see how the hype over weather has fared for us so far this year, right? Got that rally. Yeah. So is this a weather premium in the market that possibly could go away in a matter of days? Is this something that if guys should act on it now?
It's something that could go away in minutes. If we come in Sunday night and the forecasts look to be just moderate. We've got plenty of subsoil moisture. The crop is off to the best start we've seen in I can't remember how many years. The crop ratings on both corn and beans are near historic levels, haven't backed off a bit. And if we get the rains that we're supposed to get over the weekend, then there's another big storm coming in on Thursday. We're going to have some heat with that, 95 to 97 in some spots. But if we accompany it with the rains, I don't see any real problems. So they've pumped this thing up because there is some more heat in here. And Don's absolutely right. We make the bean crop in August. But I think everything shifted a little bit earlier. Maybe from July 25th to August 25th is this main area for the beans now. And if we get through the next week or two with some rains and then we cool off, this crop is made, in my opinion, unless we get a frost.
What are your thoughts on yield? Let's talk both corn and soybeans at this point, Don.
Well, our best gauge is really what the crop conditions report comes out by the government, what they issue, and they're at 76% good, excellent on corn. If you put that on a matrix, that's 171 to 173 on corn. If you do the same thing on soybeans, 71% good to excellent, that's 47 to 49 bushels an acre. So, you know, both of those are records. So that's really what you're up against. And remember, the government said last year that 90% of their yield calculation is done during the month of July. Month of July is ending, so look for your yields probably to grow in the August report, probably not soybeans because it's just too premature, but look for larger yields down the road.
You think USDA raises yield in this next report, Mark?
I think on corn they will, and I agree again with Don that we're looking at big crops out here. There are isolated spots that are tough, but the vast majority of this crop in Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, we're hearing from clients 300 bushel corn in a lot of areas, and I don't think that's going to be that unusual in the states where it's good. In Iowa, they're talking about some of the tips being not quite filled out, but when it's all said and done, I would be shocked if we didn't have above trend line yield, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, and really nationally too. And I think in Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana, we could see record yields.
Really?
I think it's going to be that good.
What's the trade trading at this point, Don? What do you think?
Well, and that's a good question because I think what we really have dialed in, we have some big crops dialed in. I don't think you're trading a 168 yield. I think we're sitting right now, you're probably trading more like a 170. You're probably trading a soybean yield somewhere over 47 bushels an acre. So I think we're trading bigger, and that's the real question mark. How much of the negative news, how much of the big yields are already dialed in the market, and what's fair market value if our demand picks up?
So, Mark, what do you think USDA has to come out with a yield of for corn in this next report to either move markets higher or lower?
You know, if they just keep it the same, I think we'll see a rally. You've got the funds short, probably 50,000 contracts of corn tonight. So if it was something friendly that they don't change anything, don't increase it, that could cause a little bit of a short covering rally. But I think when we're all said and done, we're still looking at big yields out here.
So then how do you prepare for this upcoming report?
Well, you know, I think when you look at it, you know, you're probably really tying at fair market value for the time of year you're at. Very typical on corn to put a top in the middle of June, break all the way to the 1st of August, and then try and stabilize and rally and measure and see what happens with the crop. So what happens from the producer? What does he do right now? I think you probably look more at basis than anything else. See if you can get a rally, catch up sales on a rally.
Do you think we could put a harvest low in early this year, Mark?
Well, as I've said many times on this show, we tend to make our lows the first Monday or Tuesday of the month. That's coming up, obviously, this Monday and Tuesday. If we make the low in the corn and the wheat and can bounce it and hold those lows, then we've got a chance of a little bit of a rally here. If we start taking out those lows midweek or after, then I think you've got a 30 to 40 cent risk in corn in the next couple of months.
All right, well, when we come back, we still need to talk about exports, wheat, cattle, hogs. We'll do it all when we come back on U.S. Farm Report.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Once you cut a tree down, what do you do about the stump? Grind it down with a DR Stump Grinder, the fast, easy, and affordable solution for stump removal. Thanks to the power of a world-class engine and carbide-tipped cutting teeth, the DR Stump Grinder tackles any size stump. With each pass, these teeth quickly shave the stump down, taking a remarkable 360 bites per second. In no time, the stump is completely gone. all that's left behind is a pile of wood chips. Get behind the power of a DR stump grinder to rid your property of tree stumps forever.
Call 1-800-515-4765 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can try a DR stump grinder for 6 months. With our special financing plan, you can own a DR for as low as $42 a month. Plus, get free shipping if you call now. 1-800-515-4765. Online at drstumpgrinder.com.
Welcome back. Well, we just got done talking about what if USDA raises yield in this next report. But even if they do increase yield, how does our stocks situation look? Is it still friendly even if we have trend line or a little bit above trend line yield?
Well, I think on corn, what you're really looking at is a carry out that probably is somewhere between 2.1 and 2.4 or 5 billion bushels. So, just a big number. There's no doubt about that. You're going to have exports pick up. On soybeans, very much it's an unknown yet. The 1 or 2 bushels one way or the other can really move the ending stocks from over 350 million to closer to 200 million, so it's still very much a jump ball. And I think that's what the soybean market is telling you. It's much more nervous than the wheat and the corn at the present time.
Okay, export-wise, we're coming up at the end of our marketing year. How do exports look for the year that we're in right now?
Well, I think, we're going to see fairly strong exports, and we're going to pretty much make USDA numbers, I think, be pretty close. The question becomes for next year, can we have a pace in the beans that we've seen? There are some people that think we can, and some people are saying a 225 carry out in the beans. But again, as Don said, we bump the yields a bushel or two or decrease them a bushel or two. It changes the whole dynamics of this market. Personally, I think we're going to have plenty of wheat, plenty of corn. The beans are still the question mark.
What do you think about exports next year, Don?
Well, I think this year's exports probably on the August report go up 20 to 30 million. I mean, it just looks like that's the case. Next year, I know there's a lot of talk that the exports are really going to be pushed up a lot higher. And so far, we're really just on the same pace as we were a year ago. So, remember, we're counting on the Chinese buying ability very aggressively to make the real difference. And that's a big bet. We saw it in some of these other markets that didn't work out so well. And remember, we have a 6-month marketing window, and then you're up against South America. Brazil's going to expand. So, look at the marketing window here for 6 months for beans.
What about wheat? Is it a bullish story in wheat when we're hearing about some of these production stories in other areas across the globe?
Well, France has had a big problem because of their flooding, but Australia is going to have a huge crop.
Right.
We've got the funds short about 120,000 contracts of wheat. I think that's the most bullish factor in the wheat market right now. It's near record short position. Again, we could make the low the first Monday or Tuesday of the month, and then hopefully we can see something a little friendly. The wheat tour on the spring crop was a little bit less than people were looking for, and we're certainly competitive with corn as a feed source. So, I'm hoping we can come out of this wheat. We'll be virtually done with harvest by the end of next week, and I think that harvest pressure is pretty much waning. And now if we can get just something a little friendly to chase the funds in, we could see a 60, 80 cent rally in the wheat, in my opinion. I would certainly say that if farmers are selling wheat down here, that they need to re-own it with a call option, go out to March or May and re-own it with a call option for sure.
Okay. Don, on the pork side, we ran a story earlier about how China, we're seeing flooding. They're having to slaughter a lot of their hogs right now, looking at possibly record imports. But at the same time, that's not what these latest export numbers are telling us. China's canceled some of these shipments.
Well, exactly, and that's been a big issue for the whole industry. The cutouts just come slashing down, the last 2 weeks. And you're exactly right. This last week, the Chinese did cancel 3.2 million metric tons of pork. And Mexico bought 75% of our pork exports. So, big buyer down south, but the Chinese that we're counting on, really starting to back away, and the market's really coming under a lot of pressure. I think that's one of the big reasons as supplies are growing.
Are they just not buying from anyone or just not us?
Well, certainly not from us, but I take a little bit of different view. We're making contract lows throughout August, October, December, and Feb. We're going to make the lows, in my opinion, the first Monday or Tuesday of the month again. And we've broken it so hard. And it's so typical of the Chinese to say one thing and then wait for the market to react and then just do the opposite. So if I'm selling hogs out here, I certainly want to re-own it with some call options and keep that upside open. We've had a hard break, and I think we're due certainly for a rally, but we'll see Monday and Tuesday how we act.
Don, cattle, any bullish story there?
Well, and I want to agree with Mark. I think you're putting in an oversold break right here, so I wouldn't turn negative here. Cattle, I think the bull story probably socked in our seasonal low, going to try and move higher into October, November.
Okay, Fed rate hike looks like we're not going to have it, of course, this month, maybe September, maybe December. What do you guys think?
I think they're nuts not to do it now, but hopefully maybe we'll see it in September.
Don?
Well, I think they owe it to the saver to get rates a little bit higher. I think they will over time.
The question is, will they do it before the election? I think that's the real question.
You think they will?
They probably won't.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. We'll get their closing thoughts when we come back on U.S. Farm Report, so don't go anywhere.
How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to file a claim. My central air stopped working and needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover air conditioners.
So what do you cover?
Well, home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Covered.
But not my air conditioner.
Mm-mm.
But his air conditioner would have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, washer, water heater, and more. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty from award-winning American Home Shield helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-944-5796.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-316-1198 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-316-1198. Call now.
All right, now time for Markets Now. Let's get closing thoughts. Don, we'll start with you.
Well, I think when you look at it from a producer standpoint, is that time of year you're really trying to decide what to do. Realistically, on the corn and soybeans, you're within 10% of the bottom, so it certainly is not a marketing opportunity, but it's a catch-up sales if you have to. And I think the other thing you have to remember that this is not the time of year that you turn bullish on the grain market. You've got a lot of the bull news behind you, so catch-up sales what you need to, try and tuck the crop away, look at the premiums that you have in the soybeans, the carry in the corn.
All right, thanks, Don. Mark?
Well, I would say this has been a great year to understand that you've got to market grain when you have the opportunities. And we talked about it 3-4 months ago that the farmers were going to have one opportunity, at least this year. They've always had an opportunity to sell beans and corn at profitable levels. A lot of folks didn't do it because there was so much talk about the heat out there. And I think it's just a reflection that you've got to be willing to market even when guys are so bullish.
All right, some good advice. Thank you both. Stay with us. John Phipps joins us when we come back.
The new DR trimmer mowers are here, and they're better than ever. The walk-behind DRs feature world-class engines and easy rolling wheels that let you trim along buildings, decks, and fence lines, mow tall grass and waist-high weeds without tangling, even cut brush up to 3 inches thick with optional cutting attachments. And now there's a full line of tow-behind DR trimmer mowers. Choose from models customized for riding mowers, ATVs, or compact tractors. So turn to DR and get the job done right.
Call 1-800-418-1409 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. We'll include details of our special 36-month financing plan that lets you own a DR for as low as $25 a month. Free shipping is now in effect. So call 1-800-418-1409. Online at drtrimmer.com.
DR is professional power done right.
If you're not using IMI Global's verification programs, you might as well set your money on fire. To give your wieners added value, no program begins without a traceable animal. Then add on BQA and other specialties and you open up a whole new market for your calves. You might be thinking, the market's so good, why bother? You ever heard of making hay when the sun shines? You got a choice. Get in the game or visit IMIGlobal.com.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? Up to $3,000 a year in savings could be yours if you refinance your mortgage with the Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP, through Quicken Loans. Homeowners who refinance through HARP save an average of $250 a month. There's less paperwork, often no appraisal required, and will work to get you closed in 30 days or less. It's that simple. Call Quicken Loans today for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
It's time for this week's John's World as we head to the farm. John?
I've decided you can separate people into two kinds: birthday people and non-birthday or normal people. I am the latter, of course. Birthdays in our family were noted by the big whoop of getting to choose what you wanted for supper. Later, as we got older, we received $1 for every year. To be sure, there were notable birthdays. 16 was the biggest of all, because on the day of your 16th birthday, a parent would take you to get your driver's license. It was an accepted school absence and the results eagerly anticipated by your friends. To this day, I can still rattle off the correct sequence of birthdays for my entire high school class, beginning with Dwayne in December and ending with me the following November, thanks to a cruel 1 December enrollment deadline. To be fair, a class of 11 makes this a less of an accomplishment than you might imagine. At our 50th class anniversary this summer, we discovered we all could duplicate this feat, so it was a common peculiarity. The other notable birthday was, of course, 21, because you qualified to vote. Just kidding, we all know what that birthday was about. Other than those signal events, November the 29th was mostly just another day crammed between Thanksgiving and Christmas for me. Another thing that is weird is how we feel a strange kinship with others who share the same date. I can rattle off a half dozen people with my birthday, while I only bat about 500 with my 5 grandchildren. The tragedy occurs, as it did in my case, when non-birthday people marry birthday people. To be fair, I do try very hard to remember Jan's December 23rd birthday. A middle name of Noel helps, as does the stack of presents that begin accumulating for her early in the month. I think it's hard for her, however, to accept my indifference to my own birthday. So she used to try to get excited for me. That didn't work, so we are trying a compromise. Henceforth, I will get excited over birthdays that are prime numbers. Next up for me is 71. So I'll let you know how it goes in 3 years.
John, I'm afraid I see a major celebration happening for your next birthday. Well, still to come, China changed the game for trade in the Western Corn Belt, and it's one port that's the lifeline for many. We'll head to the Pacific Northwest after the break.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast. From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
We have much more ahead on U.S. Farm Report this weekend. It's a port vital to the Western Corn Belt. We're heading to the Pacific Northwest to see why exports set sail at such an impressive pace. Why so much talk about yield and not profit? That's customer support. Well, if you've ever left something on an airplane, we may help you find it in American countryside. And a sad chapter for one small town church. It's a tribute to a country church salute in Sacred Heart, Minnesota. Now Now for the headlines. The spring rally helped lift farmers' optimism short term, but today's weak commodity prices are pushing the rural economy lower. That's according to Creighton University's Rural Main Street Index. That's a survey that helps track the health of the general ag economy in 10 key states. The survey says bankers expect cash expenses will exceed cash revenues for 1 in 5 crop farmers in the region. Bankers say on average, farm loan defaults are expected to rise by 5.4% over the next 12 months. However, almost 1/5 of bank CEOs anticipate defaults will expand by more than 10%. But some bakers have a positive outlook. One in Minnesota saying great looking crops with rain at the right time. This is the 11th straight month the overall index has remained below growth neutral. As the Democratic National Convention flooded Philadelphia this week, those in attendance watched history unfold. Hillary Clinton became the first female presidential nominee for a major party, laying out her plan if elected as president.
In my first 100 days, we will work with both parties to pass the biggest investment in new, good-paying jobs since World War II. Jobs in manufacturing, clean energy, technology and innovation, small business and infrastructure. If we invest in infrastructure now, we'll not only create jobs today, but lay the foundation for the jobs of the future.
Clinton also told delegates she'll say no to unfair trade deals, including opposition to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But she did voice her strong support for comprehensive immigration reform, saying it's the right thing to do. GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump has been very clear on one issue. He doesn't support bad trade deals, even threatening to quit the World Trade Organization, saying it's a disaster. The WTO director said this week he won't get into an argument with Trump, but the arguments for global trade need to be more vocal and direct. It all started Sunday when Trump said during his Meet the Press appearance that companies moving production to Mexico should be taxed. When pressed on the issue and that it violated the WTO, he says the U.S. will either renegotiate or leave. Firefighters continue to work on controlling blazes in the Northern California area that became fatal this week. More than 3,000 firefighters are working around the clock. A spike in daytime temperatures and a drop in humidity didn't lend them any favors this week. The cause of the fire remains under investigation, but high heat and drought are fueling an active fire season this year. Well, that drought in the west is just parked, and that remains in the latest drought monitor. The drought monitor shows dryness also spreading across much of Texas and eastern New Mexico this week, as well as more of the south. Drought is also intensifying in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and farther northeast. Now, looking at where dry conditions did improve, Iowa, northeast Missouri, and western Illinois, even northern Indiana and western Michigan, seeing better drought conditions this week. All right, that's it for the news. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman joins us now with our longer range forecast. Mike, how's August shaping up?
Well, thanks, Tyne. For a lot of the country, it's going to be warmer than normal, but there are some small areas that'll be near or actually cooler than normal, which we'll show you coming up. In the meantime, as we start the month of August and head through this first week of August, you can see how the ridge tries to come back up northward on Wednesday, so the heat starts to build back through the middle of the country. Then we see the trough kind of dig into the northeast again. Another trough later in the week and into this weekend really digs into the Great Lakes in the northeast, shoving that warm air south and southwest again. All right, here's the August temperature outlook. Above normal, the east coast, west coast, most of the central plains, maybe some in the northern plains, below normal temperatures. September, no below normal anywhere, I don't believe. Above normal for most of the northern tier of states, all the way down into the southeast. Southern plains, southwest, probably near normal. And then October, most of the country above normal, with only normal around Texas and New Mexico. Precipitation, a good chunk of the Corn Belt near normal, but above normal southeast and below normal areas in parts of the west. Tyne?
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, we showed you last week how the newly expanded Panama Canal is changing the game for exports worldwide. But here at home, over the past decade, farmers in the western Corn Belt have seen firsthand how demand from China can boost prices. And it's one port that's made it all possible. In this Farm Journal report, Michelle Rook takes us to the Pacific Northwest to see firsthand how vital one port can be.
The Pacific Northwest port is an important export outlet for grain coming out of the western Corn Belt and going to countries in Southeast Asia. That's because China is the top customer for U.S. soybeans, and the Philippines leads the list for meal.
We export about 60% of the soybeans that we raise in the United States. Fully 1/3 of those soybeans that we raise today go to China.
Soybean meal destined for Southeast Asia comes by rail from AGP's facilities in the Western Corn Belt to Washington State.
Soybean meal is our largest commodity. It's the backbone of our port at the Marine Terminal. We are, at the Port of Grace Harbor, the largest exporter of soy meal on the west coast of the United States. It's going to the Far East, so several different countries. Philippines is usually one of the bigger ones.
The advantage of the Pacific Northwest is soybeans and meal can be exported to Southeast Asia much faster than shipping through the Gulf.
We can get beans out there in 15 days from the port. We can get beans from our elevators in South Dakota in 4 to 5 days.
And that gives Western Corn Belt farmers a competitive edge.
Today, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, we're the closest to the Pacific Northwest. And when you talk about shipping from the Pacific Northwest to China, we can cut about 8 days off that trip.
Rail freight plus our shipping freight with the cost to get it over there makes us competitive, from the northern areas versus going to the Gulf with it.
The investment made by the railroads has also been key, such as the $16 billion recently spent by the BNSF.
They've increased all their capacity for trains, locomotives. Their efficiencies as far as getting the product out here has gotten better. They've got more cars available for us.
All over South Dakota, western Minnesota, the unit train loading facilities, green fields going right out in the middle of nowhere on a rail line, and really building an efficient unit train system to move the grain to the West Coast.
And that's improved basis levels for soybeans, which were running as much as $1 under the futures in the northwestern Corn Belt.
The soybean basis in our area has definitely narrowed. New crop soybeans 60 under right now. Those are not numbers that we used to get.
And with the growing population and economies in the Pacific Rim, the market for Western Corn Belt soybeans is expected to stay strong into the future. In Washington State, I'm Michelle Rook reporting for U.S. Farm Report.
Thanks, Michelle. And last year, the PNW port drew a lot of attention as a labor dispute between the longshoremen and port authorities caused the port to shut down, cutting off the main lifeline of trade for nearly 4 months. But port authorities say a crisis like that won't happen again as negotiations are more visible, putting pressure on both sides to not rock the boat. Up next, John Phipps.
This is an important medical announcement regarding the prescription blood thinner Xarelto. If you or a loved one has been hospitalized or died from serious internal bleeding, including bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system after taking Xarelto, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Time may be limited to file a claim, so don't delay. Call Xarelto Relief Line now. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. The prescription blood thinner medication Xarelto has been linked to an increased risk of severe internal bleeding, hemorrhaging, stroke, heart attack, and even death. If you or a loved one experienced severe internal bleeding, or if a loved one died as a result of taking Xarelto, call Xarelto Relief Line now. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing until your case is settled. Call Xarelto Relief Line today for a free case evaluation.
Please call 800-970-0580. That is 800-970-0580.
Are you being denied credit or paying high interest rates? Your credit score could be the problem. You need Credit Repair Pros, where we work directly with the credit bureaus and your creditors to challenge inaccurate information on your credit report to help you transform your credit score into the one you need to get the things you want, like a new car, a new home, even a new job. Call Credit Repair Pros to speak with a credit expert and find out how we'll work to improve your credit by helping remove inaccurate items from your credit reports. For over 15 years, we've helped thousands resolve their credit issues, and we've helped remove over 500,000 negative items, like charge-offs, late payments, foreclosures, even bankruptcies. So don't wait. Call Credit Repair Pros today and start rebuilding your future. Credit Repair Pros, where great credit begins. Call now for your free credit consultation. Credit experts are standing by.
Call 1-800-648-5633. That's 1-800-648-5633.
Welcome back. Well, I'm guilty about talking a lot about yield, especially in the marketing roundtables, and not enough about profitability. A viewer has a question about the two in this week's customer support.
Your call is very important to us. Please hold.
Okay, this tweet flew in this week from Dan Owens. I wish somebody could explain to me why yield gets so much talk while profitability appears to be a secondary concern. Okay, Dan, I'll take a shot, so send me an address. I would also welcome ideas that you have on this from others out there. First off, maybe we focus on yield because there are very few business problems on our farms and in agriculture that higher yields won't help. While yield may not be the whole answer, it's certainly a big factor. Second, we obsess about yields because it is a number we can obtain easily. In comparison, I've never heard of a profit monitor in a combine cab. It's a classic example of what economists call availability bias, overweighting data that is the easiest to get your hands on. Profit calculation also requires agreed upon accounting rules and is highly influenced by initial conditions. How should unpaid labor, like your retired father, be entered? What about people who rent 50-50 from family versus cash renters? Everybody tends to use a different yardstick. To be sure, these rules do exist, but they vary from system to system, so comparison between a farmer using FBFM and one using a commercial product like QuickBooks may not tell you much. Fourth, there is a psychological reward to producing big piles of stuff. Youngsters may not believe this, but years ago, many of us became remarkably good at estimating a neighbor's yield by watching his combine grain tank and the number of wagons leaving his field. Our brains react more positively to physical evidence than numbers on a screen or paper. Fifth, comparing profitability can require disclosing some pretty sensitive data. Besides, if you figured out how to make more profit per bushel, do you really want to broadcast that secret? Finally, there is a profitability indicator, but it's very slow. Take a look around. Farmers who are not there, but used to be, were probably low-profit farmers. Of all the ways to measure profitability, this may be the most useful in the years ahead.
Thanks, John. And remember, if you have a question or comment, just email John at mailbag@usfarmreport.com. Next up, if you travel a lot, you know how easy it is to forget something on the plane. So what happens to all those forgotten goods? Andrew McCrae gives us a unique look at unclaimed baggage next.
The desire to bring real-world solutions to growers' difficult production challenges has led Bayer to introduce Credenz, our national brand of soybean seed, backed by years of research in smart genetics. Smart genetics is based on 4 concepts. State-of-the-art breeding allows Bayer to identify key traits and characteristics that bring value and protection to your soybean production situation. Next is herbicide-tolerant traits. The flexibility of multiple trait platforms allows growers to pick the most effective weed control system for their farm. Next is tailored varieties. With a robust portfolio, Credenz offers many solutions for difficult situations that you may experience, along with our best-in-class agronomic service team to support variety selection. And last is ongoing innovation. Bayer is continuing to invest in ways to improve yields and increase the profitability on your farm.
We're all aware of catastrophic storms that can knock out power to millions. Powerful storms and high winds that bring down power lines. Even rolling blackouts caused by our nation's faltering electrical grid.
So how can you protect your home and family from all these uncertainties?
The answer is a home standby generator from Generac. It stands guard, ready to automatically supply power to your home within seconds of a power outage. For a free buyer's guide and DVD all about Generac home backup power, call 1-800-731-0399. You'll learn all about automatic home generators starting at just $18.99. Online at freegeneratorguide.com.
It's one of the best investments I've ever made in this house.
It gives you security, it's reliable.
That gives you that feeling of security that, to me, is priceless.
Call now for a limited time bonus offer worth $495. That's 1-800-731-0399.
Traveling the country or internationally can be fun, but it isn't always glamorous, especially when your luggage gets lost. Andrew McCrae takes us behind the scenes to see why one man's lost goods is another's fine treasure.
If you've ever spent much time flying on a plane, there's most likely been a time when you arrived, but your luggage didn't. Such events were the inspiration for Doyle Owen's business that began with a drive to the nation's capital back in 1970.
And he went to D.C. to buy his first load of unclaimed baggage. He had a friend up there that had some bags and he wasn't quite sure what to do with them. So he borrowed $300 from one grandfather and a pickup truck from the other, and they went up to D.C. to buy these bags and brought them back here to Alabama.
He soon began buying unclaimed bags from the airlines as well, and a business was born, the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Scottsboro, Alabama. The vast majority of lost luggage is actually just incorrectly routed, and it's reunited with the owner. But the bags that don't find their way home most likely wind up here.
And then we purchase these bags sight unseen and bring them back to our facility here in Alabama. But we also get things that are left in overhead compartments and backseat pockets that the airline is not legally liable for. That's where you get a lot of your electronics.
This is a large store with just about anything you can imagine, and a lot of things you can't imagine someone would ever lose or certainly want to lose. For instance, there's an entire section of wedding dresses.
You always hope it's after the wedding. That's a petite bride. It's a beautiful dress, though.
Some of the most unusual items are on display, oddities such as a surfboard or McDonald's arches, and then there was the guidance system to an F-16.
Of course, we return that to where it belonged to. We get things from the military that we put back in the appropriate hands there. Things of an illegal nature we turn over to the authorities.
The most valuable items in sheer dollars are over at the jewelry counter, though.
Last year we got in a men's platinum presidential Rolex, I believe is what it was called, and it appraised for $64,000, and we sold it for $32,000.
The store draws thousands of customers from every state and around the world, but one very happy bride happens to be the one in this interview.
So it was a men's wedding band, which we get lots of. That's my only comment on that. But I bought it for a much more affordable price that I could, handle, and took it down to the jewelry store. It had a man's name engraved in it. It was a platinum ring, had it buffed out and resized, and it's been on my finger for 17 years now.
People are always fascinated to see what's inside that unclaimed luggage. Every afternoon, the UBC allows a customer to play the role of an employee, sorting the contents to see what will be laundered and sold, donated, or trashed. We got to do the honors in front of the crowd on this day. And soon we were sorting through the contents of what we believe to have been an engineer from the Pacific Rim. Given the engineering manuals in an Asian language, we soon found several shirts and slacks that could be sold, and the suitcase itself was in good condition. But then a mystery. One shoe.
I mean, that's a worn out shoe too. We're going to trash that anyway. But my goodness, one shoe. Imagine that.
You quickly learn to check all nooks and crannies. The folks at UBC are good at knowing the places to find lost treasure. And on this day, we struck it rich, finding half a yen in currency in one pocket, which I gave to cameraman Russ as a tip for following us around the store. It's truly an experience like none other, because there is no other.
We're the only store in America that buys and resells unclaimed baggage from the airline industry. And that alone sparks enough curiosity to keep hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to our store every year from all over the country.
So as you can see, there are thousands of items in this store. In fact, they say there are 7,000 new items every day. And perhaps there are a couple of lessons in that. One, there's lots of great merchandise here at a great price. And secondly, if you don't want your items here, well, you need to hang on to your luggage. Traveling the countryside in Scottsboro, Alabama, I'm Andrew McCrae.
Thanks, Andrew. And if you want to hear more of Andrew's stories, you can visit AmericanCountryside.com. When we come back, we have tractor tales and a tribute to a church that no longer stands after a devastating fire hit last week. We'll have both stories after the break.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
The IRS garnished my paycheck.
We owed the IRS $30,000.
The IRS will stop at nothing to collect the money you owe. They will levy your paycheck, seize your assets, and can even put you in jail.
We were afraid and didn't know what to do, so we called Tax Help Today, and they got us help.
My wage garnishment was lifted, and now I can pay my rent.
Call Tax Help Today at 800-908-4885 for a free consultation. That number is 800-908-4885 for Tax Help.
Recent medical studies have shown that the use of talcum powder can cause ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using talcum powder, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call right now to determine if you may qualify. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait.
Call 1-800-842-1969. Again, that's 1-800-842-1969.
Time now for Tractor Tales with Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week we have a Farmall from the Hoosier State. This Super C was built in 1948 and worked the family farm for many years. Jim Yours cut his teeth on this classic when he was just 10 years old.
This is a 1948 C that my grandfather bought new in 1948. And it was used to cultivate all our crops up till 1975 with a 2-row cultivator. It's got touch control on it, so it's easier to adjust the cultivators to do what you do and so forth. So I'm the 3rd generation owner, and I bought it in 1985 from my father. I know I was 10 years old when I first started cultivating with it. A little scary at first trying to keep it on the row and, and keep it centered and so forth, but I finally got used to it and done pretty good. Over the time, though, I got chewed out for plowing out and getting on the wrong rows a couple times in my life, but because of getting on the wrong row and plowing out corn or tomatoes or whatever we happened to be doing, but that didn't happen too often. It got pretty deteriorated sitting around. It hadn't been used for probably 5 or 6 years. And my late wife convinced me I should restore the tractor, so we got it restored in 2001, 16 years ago, and it needs to be refreshed a little bit, but that'll be done here probably in the next year or two. Oh, it's been retired for quite some time. Hadn't been used to doing farming for 20 years probably. Probably show it some once I get the paint refreshed.
All right, thanks so much for that. Also, Machinery Pete wanted us to mention this week, the auction business lost a great friend this week.
All tractors, big tractors, we got a pretty good variety for everybody.
Jeff DeWitt of DeWitt Auction Company in Sikeston, Missouri, passed away at the age of 72. Greg had the privilege to interview Jeff about 3 years ago. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the DeWitt family and Godspeed. And a sad tribute this weekend for our Country Church Salute. A small country church in Sacred Heart, Minnesota burned down last weekend after lightning caused the steeple to catch fire. Look at these heartbreaking pictures of the Hawk Creek Church. Member Kayla took the pictures, saying her family attended that church for decades, and it was hard to watch it burn to the ground, I bet. A GoFundMe account has been set up in efforts to rebuild the church. How sad, but thank you to Kayla for letting us share your powerful images. And if you have a Country Church salute you would like to submit, salutes can be sent to the address on the screen. Stay with us. Mike joins me for viewer photos next.
Find your next piece of farm equipment with Machinery Pete. Visit and shop on machinerypete.com today with more than 100,000 listings for sale.
Today, we're talking about automotive awards. Which one of these awards appeals most to you?
Top safety pick, mid-size car and SUV.
Most dependable means a lot to me.
The green car, because I like fuel efficiency.
What if there was a car company that received all of these awards?
One company, one award in all these? Chevy.
Chevy.
Chevrolet is the most awarded car company of the last 2 years.
I love it. It's fierce.
How would you sum this car up in one word?
Incredible, amazing, and I can't use one word.
Join Drovers and Dr. Dan Thompson for our 3rd annual Feedlot Cowboy College on September 7th and 8th in Dodge City, Kansas. This 2-day seminar, led by respected and knowledgeable industry experts, is filled with timely information for feedlot operators. Topics include animal health, low-stress animal handling, technology, and how to improve animal welfare. Attendance will also qualify you as BQA certified. For more information, visit droverscowboycollege.com.
How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to file a claim. My central air stopped working and needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover air conditioners.
So what do you cover?
Well, home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Covered.
But not my air conditioner.
Mm-mm.
But his air conditioner would have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, washer, water heater, and more. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty from award-winning American Home Shield helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-944-5796.
Welcome back. Well, Mike, I seem to be traveling every week. This week, it was North Dakota. And look at these sunflowers we shot this week. Now, we were around the Jamestown area, Mike, and you used to see these sunflowers for miles in that area, but due to birds and other pest problems, not many growers actually farm sunflowers anymore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's mainly corn and soybeans, but it was so pretty to see in full bloom.
And Amber snapped this picture just outside of Good Thunder, Minnesota. What a great shot. She says the crops look great. USDA saying the same, with 84% of the corn in good to excellent condition. Wow. 86% of the corn is silking. That's 25 points ahead of average. That's amazing,
that
too.
Is. Last week we had these warm temperatures. Well, this past week hasn't been bad. The week before that, really warm. What's in store for next week?
Looks like the heat tries to come back this week, but it gets cut down quicker than even last time. So it's not going to be as extensive or as intense.
All right, thanks so much. Well, if you have any pictures you would like to share with us, you can do that on Facebook or Twitter. For all of us at U.S. Farm Report, I'm Tyne Morgan. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us again right here next week as we work to build on our tradition. Have a great weekend, everyone.
High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Chevy Silverado, the official news-gathering vehicle of U.S. Farm Report. U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.